So Kamala Harris had her first ever real cable news sit-down interview with Bret Baier on Fox News recently. And it was actually kind of impressive that she is actually committed to doing more media appearances, considering the fact that seeing her in public spotlight is making her even worse. It's like the Hillary Clinton syndrome. The more she gets on camera and tries to relate to people, it gets worse and worse for her. And the last time we kind of saw that was with CNN, and she tried to bring on Tim Walz as like a chaperone. It was kind of embarrassing. But I do applaud a bit of this in the fact that Bret Baier, as you're about to see here, had the least a bit of pushback for this. At least he had the bare minimum of pushing back some of the things that she said. Not a lot, because after all, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, no matter what you're watching, corporate media always sides with corporate power. And considering that corporate power wants Kamala Harris to win, they're going to do the bare minimum of pushing back on this. But here's how this went down, to the point where even Elon Musk is saying this is funnier than any parody. Listen to this.
Frankly, exhausted of Bret.
More than 70% of people tell the country.
Frankly, exhausted of Bret.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about.
Come on, Bret. You know what I'm talking about. When we say turn the page, it doesn't mean actually changing policy. We mean turn the page so we can get more mugshots into our scrapbook. Turning the page doesn't mean helping people. Turning the page is that song I heard on the radio coming here to relate to people. Let's remind people that Donald Trump's also running. Let's do the thing that every single celebrity keeps reminding us in the most blatant way possible. Clearly, I just have to show that, and it's already an embarrassment for Kamala Harris and her entire campaign. Just the few seconds there. Let's see this again.
Frankly, exhausted of Bret.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And
in defense of that, though, when you have a bunch of Wall Street criminals that control the majority of the entire establishment, I think, they're kind of on the right track as they're leading the country towards their direction. It's like when they say that the country is broken. Well, it's not actually broken when you consider that the people that are running it, their whole intent. So really, it's fixed towards them. But again, I give credit to Fox News and Bret Baier for doing the bare minimum of pushback, because God knows you will never see that on any other network. God knows you will never see that any interview that she's ever done. Not even the podcast she did recently, because all they talked about was abortions and Trump and, oh my God, can you imagine this game show maniac being in control of women's bodies? Well, Kamala Harris, as Attorney General in California, District Attorney, I don't know why I conflate those two, being the District Attorney in California, she was in control of single mothers' bodies by arresting them. How well did he think that turned out? I guess female empowerment, my body, my choice. I guess none of that matters. That's why they don't say it. They just mention about abortion. Everyone's just pro-abortion. It's like Christmas.
frankly exhausted of Bret.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
So this would be a good video to clip and then show any of the, just downright full-on, hard-on Kamala Harris supporters, even the, bodacious white dudes for Kamala Harris. The masculine alpha males for Kamala Harris. Oh my God, that friggin' advertisement is just so hilarious still. This is what you should be showing them. That, okay, you think that Kamala Harris is going to change things for the better, but all the stuff that she's saying, she can enact right now. She's been in office for 3.5 years, almost 4 years. She's been in office. She's the current vice president. So her turning the page is not turning any page. It's the same book that they played to for the past 4 decades. And Bret Baier makes that point that, 79% of the country doesn't see improvement when they see the exact same model, just a different face, just a different rebranding of the exact same political structure. Because Kamala Harris is just Hillary Clinton 2.0, which is just Barack Obama 3.0, which is just Bill Clinton, which is just all the same. They're going to continue on wars. They're going to continue on the devastation. Look at what they did to South Carolina. Look at what they did to, look at what they did to the hurricane victims just recently. And Kamala Harris, I feel so exhausted. People are exhausted by journalists like Bret Baier pointing out obvious facts. I'm exhausted that there's so many numbers that are not for me. I'm exhausted. It's such hard work to do nothing. It's such hard work to be an empty vessel for the status quo. It's so exhausting.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I.
Donald Trump is running for office, Donald Trump's running for office. Like that's a thing. That's a thing. Come on. Just bear with me. Be the burden of what has been, or whatever I used to say. Yeah. This is, again, feel free to clip this video, to clip that Fox News interview, and show that to people. To think that Kamala Harris is going to change anything. Just remind people that if she has the opportunity to do something. She has every opportunity to enact everything that she's promising, but she's promising on the falsehood that you will vote for her, and then she won't actually do anything. And much like Hillary Clinton, much like any other, just establishment campaign, the empty vessel that just goes right to Wall Street, because that's the track they want you to go on. They want devastation for the rest of the country, but be on the track that supports Wall Street, endless wars, the globalist empire of WEF.
I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
but
people
you're the
have
lever
become.
Of power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me,
Listen. Let me talk. I'm speaking. Over the past, again, just goes on the most stupidest random rhetoric. I'm surprised you didn't bring up the middle class story. That's always a fan favorite. That's one of her greatest hits. I grew up as a middle class child. My mother raised me. I worked at McDonald's. I was the fry girl. I served, a hamburger, the Big Mac on a sesame seed bun. I knew how hard it is for people to manage. And that is why someday I'm going to grow up and make it even harder for people to get anywhere under my ruling. That's why I hope to grow up and prosecute those mothers and daughters and people that were pretty much similar to what I am. I mean, Elon Musk is kind of right. It is hilarious. It is hilarious. just in those few seconds. And I give credit where credit's due, and Bret Baier at least gave the bare minimum of being an accountable journalist. Now, that doesn't mean I fully support Bret Baier. I don't, it's still Fox News. It's still corporate media. They're going to still spew it in whatever direction the advertisers flow. But at least doing the bare minimum to say that, you're currently the vice president. So all this stuff about no taxes on tips, all this stuff about affordable childcare, how we're going to, make sure we protect Roe v. Wade. You didn't do any of that. You're still not doing any of that. And you're dangling that carrot so viciously in front of people, demanding them, shaming them, bring Barack Obama to shame people for your empty gestures so you can gain more votes, gain control of power, and be a vicious mouthpiece for the continuation of the establishment. Because you're not turning the page. You're not turning the page. You're still stuck in the same goddamn chapter. The same chapter. Unless you're turning the page of the Great Reset. Maybe that's it. We just don't know what book she means by turning the page. If it's the Great Reset or 1984 or any of those, books that are warnings about the destruction to come and really just blueprints for them, maybe that's what they mean by turning the page. Because it certainly is not going to change with her in office. It's certainly not going to change. Even if it is the first female president. I know people are so desperate for that. They're so desperate for that. I'd say, doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter the gender. Doesn't matter the race. Doesn't matter. Appearances should not matter in any form or measure about politics. It should be about the policy. And she has nothing. Nothing, honey.